what happened along the way where I really started having some clarity was when we got to the top, what was supposedly the top, I noticed that I lost my soul along the way. I stopped making it about the people and it got too transactional. So Dave, that's where the shift happened for me. That when I got to the top, fell into depression, and I think this is the first time I'm probably even going to say this out loud. We reached number one, and then we reached number one again the next year, and I found myself very, very depressed. I was like, there has got to be more to this.
We know all real estate agents want to acquire clients consistently so that they can grow their business and income for that great lifestyle. This broadcast brings you the best and top people in the industry to support that quest. This is Dave Fanale, and I'm here to bring you the Real Estate Skill Builder broadcast, Real Estate Talk-TGIF, brought to you by Real Estate Skill Builder and Align, your premier real estate solution. And here we are. It's Real Estate Talk-TGIF, episode 427. Veronica, the first question I ask everybody on this broadcast, and this is your second venture into our broadcast. I don't know if I know I asked it the first time, so I ask you again. What does TGIF stand for?
Oh my goodness. For me, what does it stand for? Oh my God.
Well, you could use you, but since I ask everybody on this day, what does it stand for? And
sheesh. Thank God it's Friday is usually what the world says, right?
That's true. That's true. But not in this world that we're in right now today. It's thank God it's Fanale. That's why.
Thank God it's Fanale. Thank God it's Figueroa. Thank God the
there
Figueroa
you go.
Figured it out.
Now, if you would today, it's thank God it's Figueroa. Why not? You know, when I had Tom Ferry on, I said, thank God it's Ferry. So
thank God it's FIG. FIG stands for Family, Faith, Inspiration, and Growth. So let's go, baby.
Let's rock it. Okay, so you've been in this business a few days, a few years, and you've done a lot of different things, right? So the important part of what we do on this broadcast is to give as much back to the real estate community, and that is a broad spectrum community. And a lot of times it's good to know a little bit about the background of the human being I'm talking to on the other end, not to go into everything, but you've gone from, I mean, you know, before we get there, I did write a little intro, so let's read that. Most people make it to the top and spend the rest of their careers protecting what they built. Veronica Figueroa kind of did the opposite. After becoming one of the most successful real estate leaders in the country, she took an even bigger swing, not to sell more homes, but to build more leaders. She's creating culture where others create companies, investing in people where others invest in production, and reminding this industry that the greatest legacy isn't measured in transactions, it's measured in transformation. She's providing that when you build extraordinary people, extraordinary businesses become the byproduct. She's one of the boldest visionaries our industry has produced, and I'm proud to call her my friend. She's a CEO and entrepreneur, a nationally recognized speaker, and one of the most respected leaders in real estate. Everybody welcome Veronica Figueroa.
Wow, what an intro. I need that in my life. That was beautiful. Thank you. Honored, Dave.
So in everything we talked about, I think one of the things that's really most important to you, and I'm gonna take a leap here, is really the soulful being of the people you communicate and engage with. How's that sound?
So on point. So on point.
Right. And you've done that in so many ways, but you started somewhere, you built a team, now you're building relationships and stuff. Tell me where you started and why the transformation and where the transformation is going from here.
I mean, just to kind of give you a quick summary, I mean, I think I started off like everyone else, you know, it's just a career that I just needed to provide for my family, my kids. And it was really aligned with my previous, I would say, dream career, which was human resources. I've always loved people. I've always loved the people. And I had a great example of my mother building community. Her story is a whole nother conversation. But I had a hero in her who she taught me how to bring people together, how to really connect. And throughout my career journey, I've always had that as part of my foundation. And when I got into real estate, you know, it was just a matter of survival, very much like most people. And then I really started realizing that this was more, just there was so much more than just financial benefits. It was really deeper, especially what we sign up for every single day, right? You become a complete different person. You've got to have faith. You've
Yeah.
got to believe. You've got to have consistency. There's
Yeah.
so much. And then boom, things will change that are way out of your control, like the economy and the market and things that, whether you can, no matter what you do, oftentimes, there's nothing you can do about that, but you have a
Right.
choice about what you do. So then real estate just really started becoming my own personal development, like I would say boot camp. It really started teaching me to grow. And along the way, I started realizing, wow, it would be really selfish of me to do this alone, because I started realizing that I could help other people as I started growing and I started, I would say, I don't want to say crack the code, but figuring some things out, I was like, I want to help other people along the way. And everything was up against me. I was a single mother, divorced by 24, bankrupt by 27, 5 kids. And I was the breadwinner and my husband took the other seat. And, it was tough, yet we were making it happen. And I just knew I had this entrepreneurial bug. And I said, if I can do this, I want to help other people do this where they don't have to go through the struggles and the pains that I went through. If I could help them get there, collapse time, and really, really make this special for them, sign me up. Like, I'm all in. And what started off as this real estate career ended up being something that I consider is my calling, along with, this beautiful thing we get to call life.
Yeah. And it's very cool as to see, when when we first met, how many ever years ago it was, because you were on episode 96. This is 427. So you were a year and a half into this broadcast. I mean, you had just set a record for transactions. You had done all these different things, and building the business and building the team and the FIG team was where it's at. And fast forward to, last year and the year before, you've really transformed what you do and how you do it to that soulful thing I mentioned earlier. Talk to me more about that transformation from sales and growing a team, because a lot of people think, we grow a team because we want to make more money. Well,
Yeah.
I'm sure that has something to do with it. It always does, but that really wasn't the impetus to it and where you are now. Talk to me about that transformation.
Yeah, and I've had a lot of versions of the team leader, Veronica. I was on the transactional side of things for a while, and I think that's where I lost my soul. And ironically, when I had the pleasure of leading the team to reach a level, or I would say a record that had never been seen before, it was a lot of work. I think I was doing things for a lot of the wrong reasons. But Dave, I did that. I had to go through that journey. I wanted to prove, and hear me out, this is something that I want anybody who's listening to just to kind of understand. I had a personal mission. I had a personal mission to show that women operators can be great. And there was still a gap in our industry. And I wanted to prove that we could be great operators, that we could be great leaders. And our industry still had not seen women real estate agents are great, but at the operator level, at the CEO level, at the level that was, I would say, enterprise level, there was still a gap. There were very few. And I remember someone challenged me, and I kind of took it personal, but it was one of the biggest blessings. And they didn't say it to me in a way that was malicious or in a negative way, but I still took it personal. And they said, the day that you could become a great operator, Veronica, you can change the game. You're a great sales leader, but can you become a great operator? And I just knew in that moment, I'm the type of person, I was like, what do they mean? How can I become a better operator? And scale thyself were the words that they taught me. So I was like, how can I scale? So I started on the journey to build a team with people that had strengths in the areas that I did not. So that's where I really started assembling a team of human beings that were super skilled in different areas. One of the things that I got wrong, though, and I want to talk about, because a lot of times people say, what did you do right? Let me tell you what I did wrong. I did assemble a group of wonderful human beings that I still think they're great, that had skill set, but oftentimes I think what I realized was we weren't always 100% in alignment. But for that particular vision, at that particular moment in time, we were aligned in, we wanted to we wanted to prove that we were great operators. And just by becoming good operators, which was the only goal, and wasn't sure how I was going to measure that, we ended up becoming number one in the world. So I knew I could assemble a good team. But what happened along the way, where I really started having some clarity, was when we got to the top, what was supposedly the top, I noticed that I lost my soul along the way. I stopped making it about the people, and it got too transactional. So Dave, that's where the shift happened for me. That when I got to the top, I fell into depression, and I think this is the first time I'm probably even going to say this out loud. We reached number one, and then we reached number one again the next year, and I found myself very, very depressed. I was like, there has got to be more to this, and I want to be a leader that not only can accomplish these things, but also just is full and loves what she's doing and has a real, just, I don't know, just I'm very clear as to why and the who and the people. And I really felt like, yes, we accomplished that, but we lost our soul along the way. And the team that I had previously built that was super scrappy, super fun, like it was about the people, I disconnected from that for a moment. Just to prove that we could become this machine. And by the way, not to say that if you become that machine, you'll lose your soul. I personally went through my own experience. And then that was the aha moment that I literally had to go to therapy. I had to read books. I had to, start writing a book. I had to really figure out what is it that I want to build. And another person said to me, when are you going to be number one again? I was like, I already got the belt. I don't need that. But where I want to become number one is how many lives can I impact? I started walking in my faith. I started being super crystal clear in my authenticity, the kind of team I wanted to build, the kind of culture I wanted to build, the kind of people I wanted to be around, the kind of growth I wanted personally and within myself to attract the type of people I want in my life. And everything changed. I now am happier than ever. My team will still sell 700 homes. We're expanding throughout the U.S., and that's just my Orlando-based team. And now we just launched a couple other markets. But we have a little over 2,700 partners worldwide through our partnership at EXP, which continues to grow with leaders. And I'm having more fun opening up countries and opening up teams. And, I believe we'll probably hit 1,000 before the end of next year as far as team production again. But it's so different now, because we're growing it in a way that's so authentic and so aligned with who we are and connecting with the right who's. So that was the shift. That was really the shift for me, as far as going back to the people and building something with, with just heart at the center of everything.
So it sounds like to me, and I've heard this from Joe Stumpf. I've heard it from John Cheplack. I've heard it from others about having breakdowns before the breakthrough, right? So it seems like you've done a whole bunch of those, and you've just given a gamut of what you've gone through. What was the difference from going from being a great leader to being a great operator? And I don't want to keep going up that ladder. Tell me the difference. What was the difference? What did you have to do differently or change?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've always been a leader. I think, there's different types of leaders, right? You move people, you can sell people on a vision, right? But to be able to properly build something that has proven repeatable steps, and it can operate when you are not around, and the people that are running it for you understand the mission, and it will not break when you are not around. I believe that's what makes you a great operator. I am in Portugal right now. I'm in Porto. I am walking for the next 7 to 10 days. I've been on the road hiking for the last 3. I've been in Portugal and in France for the last 2.5 weeks, and building events as well. And my team is doing better than ever and thriving. And I do believe that there's a world where you can be a great operator, great leader, and still love your business. And that's where I'm at right now. But one of the first steps that I realized in becoming a great operator was systems, processes, repeatable, tools and processes that people can follow. And no matter who gets pulled out, someone could be put right back in, and it will not break. That to me is when you become a really great operator, where it is not dependent on you, the leader, solely. And my leaders are, to me, better leaders than me. I look at them, I'm like,
that's why we hire them, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I think we're,
and not just hire them. We've developed together. We've grown together. So I think that's really important.
Yeah, I think one of the things that you've just shown anybody and everybody, whether they're a solo agent or getting on a team or starting their own team, is that systems and processes, and it's a piece that you plug into, and you can plug if you need to change it, you can change it, but you know what you need as you grow, and it's always about growth.
Yeah.
Systems and processes as well. Spoke with an agent last night that has a full-time gig, very important gig, and he's been a great agent as a part-time entrepreneur. I mean, he does better than a lot of full-time agents. And he was talking to me about building systems and processes with an ISA department of his very own, and we talked about the importance of that. And we did talk about replacement if it didn't work. That was where we started, because we started with the exit rather than the entrance. And I think that helps a lot, because that's what systems and processes allow us to do. So you go from great leader transaction wise to great operator transaction wise, and then the breakdown and then the breakthrough. Tell me about that roller coaster, not the particulars of the personal emotional part, but for your business and some things that people need to look out for.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you got to get in the right rooms, right? You hear that you hear it so cliche, but I just had to get into the right rooms, and I would get into the rooms that I felt uncomfortable, and I got into rooms with people that I absolutely admired, respect, or saw that they were doing things that were, perhaps a little maybe further along the way than I was, and it was expensive, but it was a lot more expensive to not get in the room. The mistakes would have cost me more if I had not gotten in the room. So I continued to push myself. I never thought that I had arrived. I continued to be a student, and and I also have to give everyone the truth is you've got to take action and be willing to fail. You've got to fail publicly, and you've got to fail frequently. And that's something that I did. I did it more times than not. I mean, last year I got sued publicly. There's so many things that happen along the way that if you are really trying to grow, and as a leader, you've got to go through these phases. You've got to put yourself in a position where you're like, okay, it's trial and error. I am going to get some, I'm obviously going to have the ability to have some shortcuts because I'm surrounded by really great coaches, leaders. I have one of the best coaches. You mentioned John earlier. John has been my coach for almost 9 years. Everyone is always looking for that secret weapon or that tool or the easy button. And it's been 9 years in the making. I'm still coaching with him. And people ask, hey, what do the coaching sessions look like? It's called life. It's called reality. It's called where am I today?
Exactly.
So I have a good coach. I get in the right rooms. I was around people who gave me permission to just, expand my mind. And what I thought was leadership, then I'd get in the rooms. I'm like, oh my God, there's so much more. You mean I can build this and I could build that? And it doesn't stop here. It doesn't stop on the transaction hamster wheel or, just my city. I can do so much more. And that's where it started getting fun. It started getting into more of an enterprise type of, goal. And now I have a COO, I have a senior VP of growth and development. I have, expansion leaders. It's really fun. Why? Because I learned from people from like Ben Kinney. I learned from John Cheplack. I learned from so many leaders who I'm like, what did they do? Okay, how can I apply that now into the world that I've created? Built a brand that's trusted, a brand that other leaders now, especially in this market, are saying, hey, I want to wear your jersey. You guys have, how can I now scale my operations team to help other teams across the state and maybe other state lines? And you just start thinking differently. And it's so much fun, Dave. I mean, like I'm having so much fun, but it's because it started getting into the right rooms.
I think that's really important, getting the right rooms. And what I decided was I used to go to an awful lot of events, awful lot of conferences. And I decided recently that if it's not going to be something that I can really sink my teeth into, like what I want, right?
Yeah.
And I also have to go with one mindset that I am the dumbest person in the room. So it doesn't matter what question I ask, I need to ask it, because I know damn well if I think it's stupid, there's like 70% of that room that wants to ask the same question and they won't, right? Yeah. And then I looked at, I'll give you an example of an event I just knew I had to go to when I went to Spring Benson's spring break last year. I knew I had to be, I didn't know why. I didn't understand why I thought I had to go. And I just decided to go 3 days before it started. So, and it was one of the greatest events I've been to. not because it was a real estate event, because it was a human being event.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
You
that
know,
and that's important. Go ahead.
and that's the thing is like everybody's on the same journey. We're all humans, and we just happen to do real estate for a living. So what are you going to do? You're going to learn from people that are, again, just open and honest and real. And I think those are the best rooms, because you go to these conferences where everybody sizes each other up. They talk about,
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
some grand person, but at the end of the day, when they get off that stage, they're just a human being, just like you. And something about conferences that I think is important is that there's a lot of people who try to be the junkie, and go to
Yeah.
everything and implement
Yeah.
nothing. You said it best, Dave. Like, go for one purpose, right? Who do you need to meet? What action are you going to take? Don't try to do all things. Don't buy every shiny object. Try to make sure that you are, super intentional about the conference of, where you're at and what you're doing. Because if not, you're just going to realize that this is just just a waste of time. And I've seen so many people do that.
It's all about commitment to what you want to yourself, right? It's not about I can't do this. It's about, yeah, I can do this, but how am I going to do that? Where can I get the support and where can I get the help? Which leads into, who you want to be, who you want to feel like. And for me, really, the most important thing that I've learned over the past year or so is I want to be me. I don't want to be the person that grew inhibitions over the last 20, 30 years. And I realized, I got a lot of experience, a lot of teachings that I've gone through. And you know what? I want to have fun doing what I'm doing now. So I've made a lot of changes, but I made them all because this is where I want to go, the direction I want to go. And everybody needs to look at that when we talk about, where their leadership and its own personal leadership. Like everybody, you can be a solo agent and be a leader. You can be in a team
Absolutely.
and be a leader. Then you can lead a team, and then you can be operational and all that stuff. And then we get into, with everything that you're doing, Veronica, culture, right? So we talk about people, we talk about changing lives, transforming, helping people transform their lives. And one of the things that you've done, and I know you have a culture center in Florida, is you've taken something for not only to grow agents, but to grow lives too, and grow relationships in that way. Talk to me about what that's all about, what your culture thought process is, and what the systems are that you're building behind it, and the actual what you actually have down there.
Well, only if you promise me one thing, that when we do our grand opening, you're gonna come. Hopefully, you'll come. We're gonna
Send
do
me an
so.
invite.
Yeah. So
I,
So I want to give
I'll
credit
be
where
there.
credit is due. My partner Gil Ramos and Bobby
Right.
DeViewicz, they built an amazing culture, and we both have been riding side by side. I had my own office; they had their own office, and we would just like we really, really, I would say, became super intentional about building something special in Orlando when we partnered 7 years ago, while still having our own businesses and having our own cultures. But we started realizing that our cultures were stronger together. And real estate tends to be an individual sport, right? We think our teams, and we kind of
Yep.
like have our own
Yep.
territorial way of doing things. But at our brokerage, right, we also found that a lot of agents would be like, hey, can I sign up? And you guys have an office, can we come in? And Gil and Bobby did something right from the beginning. They always wanted to have an office that it felt like a personal development space. He's a big Tony Robbins dude. He loves it. And they just always believed in pouring back into the people. That has been something that I got to witness very, very from the beginning of working with them. And I felt it. I just knew it. I was like, wow, man, they take 100 people to Tony Robbins. They are like always doing things together. And we were very, very known for our production, and they were very, very well respected for the leaders that they had developed. And along the way, just by pure osmosis, we obviously grew, and they obviously grew their production, and we would just all kind of just jive. And over the years, Gil and I were like, man, what if we had an office together? What if we have an office together? You have your office, I have my office. He had a great downtown office, I had a great office. And Bobby, who's very, very special to us. He is kind of like a poet. He's just amazing, just a great leader. He is like a culture keeper. He is the guy. He is the chief culture officer. Bobby knew that there was a problem in our industry, that offices are usually places where people go to die or be bored, or they're not inspired, because the traditional office space wasn't as what he envisioned. And our office was a great coffee shop concept, beautiful office, and they had the formula of the X factor. Every training, everybody was a trainer, everybody's part of the roster, everybody's giving back. And they had done something so beautiful, what I had done on the team side and the culture side. They had scaled leaders, and these leaders take pride in the culture center. And what they also did very well was figure out the financial model and say, hey, we're all owners here. We all contribute. And with inside of the EXP model, they went to Leo, and together we started kind of like working on how can we solve the financial model where owners, broker owners, who we tend to attract, Dave, you, me, right, and some of the other leaders, we
Right.
tend to attract
Right.
broker owners and
Right.
teams. Well, what's one of the number one things that they say? I have an office. How am I going to pay for the office? Who's going to use my office? So we're like, perfect. Like, turn your office into a culture center where everybody contributes through a transaction fee or a culture center fee or success fee. And EXP, we work with them and their accounting system, and they now pass through that fee to the culture center leader. EXP does not take a fee of it. So they were like, nope, they could have, but they chose not
Right.
to. They wanted to give back. And all the agents are proud to pay for it. There's an agreement, but none of the financials matter. Take that to the side, put that to the side. The culture center is about, it basically is a personal development space disguised as a real estate office. And every single person who comes onto the roster is either teaching a class, is either a leader, is an icon agent, a capper. We have a new agent development program. We have a walking program, a walking meetup crew that works out together. There's a team that celebrates the rock star agents who graduated from new agent development or the top agents for that month. They're celebrated every single month. They get to win contests, and we take them to the Magic game. We take them to karaoke and Universal where the band, and they win trips, and they do all kind of stuff. So we're like, look, at the end of the day, we can say that, whatever, people want to be independent and they want to be hybrid or they want to be virtual. People still want community. And this is a community center that is beautiful. So we just bought a building, and we're super excited. We bought this building last year. It happened to previously be the number one KW office in our market. We bought the building. And we completely gutted it out. I'll send you pictures. I wish I could have had him for this episode. It's beautiful. It's designed as a beautiful space. It's an event space. It's think Starbucks meets, the most beautiful industrial space, coffee shop. It's going to have a wellness center in there because we want a nurse in there to talk to them about wellness, making sure that, that they're up to date on their blood work, on their hormone therapy. We're going to have our wellness center as part of the recruiting strategy. Hey, invite an agent to learn more about health and wealth and, all kind of things. It's got a studio in it. It is a vibe. The trainings are amazing. The vibe is amazing. It's a place you want to go work. That if you're not on the road showing properties or at listing appointments, you want to be around your peers and your partners because it's a vibe. And it's just become something really cool. We figured out the accounting model. We figured out the recruiting model to it. We figured out the growth and development model to it and how to earn extra revenue as well as an operator. But the most important thing is the culture. The culture piece is you attract people who want to grow, and no one goes through that door if they are not committed to growth. Meaning, hey, what are you good at? You're teaching a class on YouTube. Hey, what are you good at? Oh, you're good at prospecting. You're good at expireds. You're good at FISBOs. You're good at this. We're going to make you a superstar. We're going to teach you. Oh, you're uncomfortable with public speaking. We're going to help you become a better public speaker. What is it that you want to grow? You want to build a team? Boom. We're going to teach you how to be a team leader. You want to mentor agents? Boom. Let's go. You're part of the mentor program. So everybody contributes to the culture, and it's pretty special what's happening here.
It really is, and it's something that a lot of people envision but don't know how to execute. And there comes the next part of this conversation is, okay, so you have lots of agents that I don't need an office. Then you have agents that want to say, well, I want an office, I want a physical office, and they want it because they just want it there. It's something that they have, but they never go to. So do people come to the cult? Will they come to the culture center when, a lot of people are working from their home or working from another space or whatever? Will they come to the culture center? Will there be people there every day? I mean, this may sound like a stupid question, but
Yeah,
How
they
about it?
come. You got some people who are the first ones in, the last ones out. You got people who have dedicated offices because they are icon agents, or they're cappers, or
Right.
they're, producers, or they're just great culture pieces. They're growers. We reward growth leaders too, Dave, because in our model we reward recruiting, and that's not a lie. It's not something we're going to hide. We Those are important culture pieces to us. But then you've got this beautiful centers hub, which we're talking about 13,000 square feet. We did not go
Wow.
small. We've got title, we've got mortgage, we've got everybody in there that you would think of, but there's always a buzz. Now, are there days that are busier than ever? Absolutely. We're going to pack the house, and it's like, why? Because it's a
Sure.
celebration.
Sure.
It's a specific training. It's a training people want. And then there's days where it's like, hey, you know what? Everybody's just prospecting. Everybody's doing their things. You've got prospecting booths. You've got, quiet stations. You've got areas where people just want to relax. I just ordered a chess board. I've got this chess table that I want to have. I want people to, like, sit in the corner and play chess for a little bit, distract their mind. But yeah, people come in, and this isn't meant to be a dog and pony show. It's meant to be a place where you come to work, or you come to network, or you come to learn, and or be developed. So come as you wish. If you want to go 5 days a week, come 5 days a week. If you want to come 3 days a week, come 3 days a week. But you're a part of the culture center, and we want you to be there. We love the energy, and I think that's something that Gil and Bobby did really well. When I started sitting with them about this vision and us closing our office down to merge with them and buy the building, it was important to know that our cultures would align, and it's been one of the best decisions I've made.
From the moment I heard about it and saw you talk about it at EXPCon last year, I was very excited about it, I like the concept. It makes a lot of sense. But I've always got to think with what I see now is, will they come? I mean, look, I admit this probably not gladfully, but I am product of the legacy real estate brokerage, right?
Yeah.
I was that legacy broker. I was that franchisee that said, get numbers. It doesn't matter if they produce. It doesn't, just do it. But I always wanted to get that done, and now I do it in a different way, which is fantastic for me. There's a lot of other things you've been doing, and one of the other things that I wanted to quickly talk about, or maybe not quickly talk about, is, aside from you being a global leader and building that global metric, you've also done something that is becoming really that is very important, and that's women operators and women in the business, and it's called V2. Am I correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk to
It's
me
it's
about V2, what it is and how it works.
Yeah, so we started a Latina women's group that is really special for me, to me, because I'll just be honest, I never felt Latina enough. But every room I went into, I was the most Latina girl in the room. So it was kind of near and dear to my heart, especially with what I witnessed. My mother she built communities for the Hispanic community, everywhere my father was stationed. So that's always been something that's been super special to me, especially serving the Hispanic community. And I had a friend of mine reach out to me last year. She just reached out to me right after I'd watched a beautiful Broadway show called Real Women Have Curves, and it was a show about immigrant women coming to this country and building their dream. And not to make a story, long story short, she caught me at the right time, and she says, "Hey, I think we should do some stuff together. I'd love to co-sponsor with you." And she has the #1 YouTube channel in Spanish. She was like, "You've built a really big business, Veronica, and I think we can do some things together." And I was like, "Well, I don't need another job, but if it is
Yeah.
something that is aligned with, tell me what your vision is, because I'm in a point in my life where it has to feel like I'm making an impact. And I don't
Right,
just
right.
want to put on a conference. I don't just want to put on an event. I want to work with women that really are ready for their next breakthrough." And she says to me, I told her my vision. I said, I really want to help create more Latina women entrepreneur millionaires. I want to help more Latina women get in the rooms where there's
Right,
not enough representation.
right.
And I feel like I've had an opportunity, but I haven't done enough. And I want to do more. And if that is aligned with you, then we can do something. And she was like, I love this. This is amazing. This is exactly what I want to do. I said, and I also want to break the stigma that Latinos don't pay. So this is going to be probably a little high ticket. It's going to be something that's going to require them to really push outside of their comfort zone. And let's stick to women for now. And a year later, we've hosted 4 different events. Each one of them sold out. Each one of them in different parts of it. We did in Miami, we did in Puerto Rico, we did in Dominican Republic, we did in Orlando, and our next one is going to be in Orlando in October. It's been a year. It's been amazing. And the breakthroughs that we've seen. We've actually flown to Peru and had an event with 1,000 women with one of our leaders.
Wow.
We're seeing a development division of developers from all over the world wanting to work with these ladies. It's just amazing when you get in the room with women who understand your ambition, who understand how you think, your challenges, and it's been really fun. It's been really special and really fun to be a part of this. And V2 stands for version 2.0, right? So it is designed for real estate women, Latino real estate women who are looking to really break through that next level, whether it's financial literacy, whether it's wealth building, operations, team scaling, whatever is important to them. We're helping them really have that breakthrough. We're bringing coaches from all over the whole life, not just in real estate, but yeah, we're on a mission, and these ladies are so special. We've had people come to our events from Guatemala, Peru, Spain, you name it, and of course the U.S. But it's really important to me because on my trip last year to Europe when I was coming here, when I did get that call, I had a little scare, like a little cancer scare, and it was a long trip. Just thinking about that. And I remember saying, what do I want to be remembered by or as? And it definitely wasn't that I sold 2,000 homes in 1 year. It was more, how many lives can I impact? How many people can I truly help if they're stuck, get unstuck? And then I said, and then how am I leaving a legacy for the people that I feel like I'm proud to represent, which is my culture. And even though I represent all, I'm blessed to be, a person that I've been able to work with multiculturals. I love everybody, and I can get in any room. There's nothing more proud than to carry out the legacy of, make an impact in my Latino community that my mom taught me.
That's absolutely fantastic. And Felix is here. My daughter will be getting her errands when she turns 18. How can I get her investing into properties? Well, call Veronica.
Yeah, I love it. Yep, we help people invest too, because that's really important. Real estate's been really good to us. We've made some good investments. We've made some bad investments because it happens, but we've made some really good investments, and I'm a passionate investor as well.
Well, I tell you what, Veronica, I know you're overseas. You're in Europe. You're in Portugal right now, and I thank you for coming on today, spending this time with us. And there's a big time difference, and you want to go out to dinner, and I don't blame you. But the important part here is that we've shared some stuff with people, and I'm really excited. I'm so thankful and grateful that you came on. So I just got 2 more things. The one thing is how do I help you grow your business?
Oh, wow. You're so amazing. Honestly, if you know any rock star Latina women who want to learn more about how they can, stay in contact and maybe participate in our next event, I would love those introductions. Anyone that's looking to, scale a team and wants to learn more about our expansion model, love to talk to them as well. We're expanding throughout Florida. We've got 2 other markets that we're announcing shortly. And usually we're a really good fit for someone who has leadership skills, has already had some influence, and is just stuck in the operational side. And they know that they can go further together, but they've been doing it alone. So those are the type of people I want to meet. Yeah. Those are the type of
It's
people.
really exciting. And you may remember you were on April of 2020. That's a long time ago. And I apologize for waiting so long. But you know what? Sometimes it takes a while to get the best part of all of us. And that's what we did today. I want to thank you so much for being on. And of course, there's a new hat.
I love it. I still have my other hat.
This one has wrong side. Has an 8 on it for 8 years running.
Wow.
and we're really excited about that. We're going to keep going. Just stay on for a second as we go off. Hey, everybody, I want to thank you all for coming on. Okay, next week is David out of Kurz. He's down in your area. He's coming on here, the Kurz organization, real estate coach. We'll have David on. He also was on that long ago, so he's going to join us next week. I'm looking forward to that. Veronica, thanks for coming on. Stay on for a second if you can, and then everybody, we'll see you next week. God bless you all.